What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are checking out Podcasting Business School. This is the show where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby, but build it like a business. And today, I have the honor of talking to one of my favorite new podcasters that I found in the last couple of months. I heard Lyn on the Choose FI podcast, which is a show that I listen to religiously every single week. And she blew my mind with travel rewards tips. And then I started listening to her show. And I love the way she does business. I love the way she promotes her membership. I love everything about it. I've binge listened to her show. I'm like, I got to have her on, especially when I found out she lives like an hour and a half away from me. Like, I got to bring this woman on. We got a podcast together. So Lyn Mettler, welcome to Podcasting Business School.
Thank you so much. That was quite a compliment. I really appreciate it. So I'm so excited that you're binging on my show. Yay.
Yeah, so if you've seen a spike recently in downloads, that's why.
It's all you.
I've been listening to them all, and then I promoted it on my newsletter. I was like, you guys, you got to listen to this. She's coming on the show. Everybody start binge listening. So, whoops, I get excited. I start talking with my hands.
Me too.
So is that a Hoosier thing? We just karate chop our microphone. So I want to talk about why you decided to get into podcasting first, because I know that you were a travel writer and you were kind of using the written space. What made you transition and go, okay, I need to get my brand into podcasting?
Yeah. So I think that's a great question because I am a longtime travel writer. I've had a blog for many years. That was kind of an offshoot of that. And I developed an email list from that. And monetizing the business just wasn't working for me. I've tried a variety of different things. And so I kind of started to shift during the pandemic. I would say I decided I needed to really kind of shake up what I was doing and try something different. And I've always loved speaking. And even though I'm an introvert, like I have always enjoyed being on camera and speaking and that kind of stuff. And I started doing video consults as the rest of the world got on Zoom, right? All the time. So offering video consults to some of my email subscribers and getting on with them on Zoom. And I really enjoyed that so much better than emailing someone back and forth, right? And I was seeing how much I really could help people. And so I started to realize people needed to get to know me a little bit better if they were going to invest in, learning more from me in a course or a membership or something like that. And I think podcasting and also YouTube has worked well for me too, have been huge game changers for me because now people have a sense of who I am and that I know what I'm talking about, right? Before they decide to jump on board with paying something to do more. And it's the trust factor, I think, is there. They feel like they know me and they can trust what I'm talking about. So, and I love it. Like I can talk all day long about flying free. So give me a topic and I can podcast about it. So,
yeah, well, I am on board with what you just said there, especially I always talk about how with podcasting, you have a 100% deliverability rate on that phone. When somebody hits subscribe or follow, it shows up. Where with email marketing, we're high-fiving if 70% of the people don't even open your email. We're like, yeah, exactly. 30%, you rocked it. But with podcasting, it's there. You're in their earbuds, you're top of mind, and you're able to drip knowledge. And the way that you have these, what I call casual call to actions within the flow of your show, I freaking love it because that's just letting people know, just reminding them gently, like, we do have a membership. This is something that we talk about a lot. These are results from my membership. I love it because it's just that gentle call to action, that gentle reminder. When you are ready, I'm your girl. And I think it's brilliant. So let's talk about.
Think it's not over the top or.
No, not. I wish more people skewed their energy in the direction that you are going. Like, I love the focus of it. So your show is called Families Fly Free, which for me is hard to say. So every time you rock it out, I'm like, man, she never messes it up. Families Fly Free. I want to go Families Fly Free. So that's that, but you nail it. And I love the focus of the show. It's like, all right, how do we use these travel rewards hacks to make sure that your family can have amazing experiences by flying for free and having a lot of times your hotel taken care of just through travel rewards and all the advice and all the knowledge that you drop. So I'm a big experience guy. Like I always talk about my true compensation isn't money, it's lifestyle, it's experiences. And your show is providing that. So I love it when you bring people on, people that come out of your membership and you kind of do their success stories. These are all things that I do with my own show. And I'm like, man, this woman has got it dialed in. So I would love to just kind of start, the second leg of this conversation, talking about your game plan for the show, like what your goals are, what the structure, how you are kind of massaging in some calls to action and all those things. Let's dive into that a little bit.
Well, and the goal for my show is not to monetize the show, or at least that's not what it is right now. I don't intend to have sponsors anytime soon or anything like that. I really just want to give people a sample, of what I have to offer. And I mean, truly, my mission is to help all these families that think that they can't travel because they don't have the budget for it, which is exactly the situation we were in, 7 years ago. I couldn't afford to fly 4 people free anywhere. And I know so many people are in that situation. And so if I can show you how to do this, and what I feel like I bring to the table is a simple way to do this. So there's tons of information about how to use miles and points to fly free and travel free out there in the blogging world, etc. But nobody really tells you a process for how to do it. They tell you, here's the 200 different things that you can do, and here's the 100 different cards you could have.
Right.
But which ones should you have, and what order should you do things, and how do you do this if you want to bring more than just yourself or a couple? How do you do it? So I feel like I have dialed in on a simple process that has worked for my family of 4, and amazing to me is working for families of 7 and 8 in my membership. That's insane to me. So it's working for them too. And we just want to tell as many people as possible about how to do this, because it really works. And like an obstacle I have to overcome a lot is it sounds too good to be true. Doesn't it? Right. And so that, like you talk about me bringing on some of the members to interview, to me, that's the best way to try to overcome that obstacle for people. Is don't just take my word for it. I am one example, but here are other people who are actually doing it. And let's talk about how they're doing it and why it's not too good to be true.
So I love those member episodes because I just thinking from putting my business podcaster hat on, it's expert positioning for you, and it's proven results. It's
right.
Like the one episode I listened to where the guy had a family of 7 and he flew them all to Hawaii for like $200 total, just because you have to, when you use the passes and things like that, you got to pay a little bit just for whatever, the airline fee or whatever. But family of 7 for $200 all the way to Hawaii. That's insane. I was like, this lady has it figured out. And that style of episode, I talk about it all the time. Like, it's really important if you're selling programs, products, or services, you can't be the person that just does interviews, because your audience sees you as the person that interviews the expert, and you're never the expert yourself. So the way that you do it, you're dropping knowledge and you're bringing testimonial people on and things like that. Like, I love the expert positioning, and you've just got that simple, singular call to action. Every once in a while, you've got a webinar, a workshop, or something like that, but that leads to the membership. So the single direction you're driving into is that membership. And podcasting, one of the major mistakes that I've fallen into, and a lot of my pod pals fall into, is we love all the things. They're like, I created a membership, I've got a book, I've got coaching, I've got events, I've got all the things. And sometimes we kind of offer puke, as I call it, onto our audience, whereas you are just giving these general reminders. People know what it is you do, how you do it, why you do it. Have you ever been tempted to like I'm going to do a different course or anything else? Or are you always just like, how do you stay so focused on that one thing? That's what amazes me.
Well, I mean, I've already offered puke in my early days, right? So I sort of have gotten through that already. And what I did is I really took everything that I've done and put it into the membership.
There you go.
So it's all, I started off offering different courses on different things, and I had an ebook and, variety of stuff. And I just put everything into that. So I'm a big believer in the 80-20 rule. I always like to talk about this because, if you look at everything in life, that rule is basically that 20% of the efforts you take result in 80% of your results. So if you can always figure out what are the 20% of things I'm doing that's generating the majority of my results and focus there, you eliminate a lot of extra stuff. So I know you talk about dialing in on social media, like really picking your platforms. So I know which ones work well for me. And like, for me right now, Instagram, like the rest of the world is on there. And I like to post travel photos and stuff on there. And here and there, I'll post some things. But like, I don't see that as a primary platform for me. A lot of my people instead come from their YouTube is working great. So I'm really focusing there. And Facebook works pretty well for me. So I try to focus most of my social media efforts there. And if I want to post on Instagram, some great, because it's fun,
Yeah.
But I don't want to be on there posting things multiple times a day and whatever. So, and it's working for me not to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If your membership is filling up and you're getting those downloads like that, that's the purpose. So with YouTube, I'm interested, like why is your brand working on YouTube in your opinion? And what kind of response are you getting? And then what kind of process do you have with, if people are finding you on YouTube, how do you nurture those relationships to kind of get them into the membership and things like that?
Well, I think that it's the same reason that podcasting works well, because again, it's an opportunity. Like I have had people join the membership and they are like, hey, I heard you on your podcast. And then I went and looked you up on YouTube and I watched a couple of videos because I wanted to see if you did know what you were talking about. We could tell you did know what you were talking about. So we decided to join.
Nice.
So it's again, getting through that trust factor. It's, feeling, I guess, doing your due diligence before you sign up for something, and I think like one of the best things that I have done in the past, 6 months or something was creating every week. I answer a short question about flying free. And it's like a 1.5-minute video that doesn't take me very long I can do multiple at a time. I post, so I have new content on YouTube every Tuesday. We call it Travel Tuesday Q&A. It goes out to my email list. I can also post that now on Instagram just because it's done. I can put it on Pinterest if I want to put it there. And it's that regular, consistent content that my email list is now seeing me on video. Even they're more likely to look at something that's only a minute long. That doesn't take them much time, and then again, start to get to know me a little bit better as a person, see what I'm talking about. And then, I don't know. So I think also on YouTube, I'm coming up in search results for things too.
Right.
So if you're looking for something about Chase Sapphire Preferred, which is my favorite travel credit card, you may come across me. Then you may check out some of my other videos, while you're there.
Nice. Are you handling all your YouTube back end yourself, or do you have a team that handles that, or like a VA?
So I now have a video and podcast editor. So wonderful.
Nice.
To not
Congrats.
be trying to do that myself. So that takes a lot off of my plate so that I can focus more on the growing of the business. So I don't have anyone that's like managing YouTube yet, but we're really trying to polish that up over there and make our thumbnail images look nice and get the keywords dialed in and the playlist looking good and all of that. So it looks very professional. And as I've grown the membership, I am able to reinvest, back into more features for it and better technology for it and more professional branding and that kind of stuff. So I think that the professionalism of everything has definitely gone up over the last year, which just also helps with the trust factor too, because you feel like I have a better webcam, for example. I love my webcam.
Yeah. If you're not like the person that's like in the dark corner of their basement with like a sketchy mic and you're like, ooh, what's that person all about? The camera and all that. The only reason I've got a YouTube presence is I'm not big on video editing. Like it's kind of the bane of my existence, but like with this StreamYard platform, like we're live on YouTube right now, and it will just go right in, and it kind of looks nice with all the dressy stuff around it. And so that's the only reason I've got a YouTube presence. But the thing that really is interesting to me about YouTube, I just found this out, that they take, I believe it's the first 90 seconds of whatever you say, and the transcript of that gets search engine optimized. So the words that are coming out of my mouth. So that's why at the beginning of my show, I started going, if you're looking for podcasting tips around how to launch a podcast, how to grow a podcast, how to monetize, I tried to say the questions that people would be putting in Google at the beginning of my show to help with SEO. So that's just something that I've recently discovered that seems to be helping out with people discovering my show on that platform. Have you dabbled in Clubhouse yet?
No, I don't feel like I even want to go over there and learn a whole nother thing.
It's if you ever do, hit me up. I know there are a lot of like travel based rooms and clubs, and people that have like successfully carved out a niche for themselves, like you have. Like I join business chat rooms, marketing chat rooms. I'm kind of the podcasting guy. And I'll go in there. I do a ton of business where I'll speak in someone else's room for 15 minutes. My personal best, 15 minutes in someone else's room, $10,000 within an hour in my pocket, just from networking and people signing up for my launch courses and things like that.
Well, that's worth it.
It blows me away. It blows me away. I was like, oh, so I'm not one of those people that gets on there and it's like the Marvel Comics Club and the basketball club. I'm like, I'm on there for my niche only. Business time, 1 hour, maybe 90 minutes a week. But I see rooms in there that I like. I'll do a little more research, but I think that you could really be successful. I think it'd be worth just an experiment of, I'm going to go in there and network for an hour and just see what happens. And I can help you out with how to, navigate the platform. It's not that hard. But anyway, I want to plant that seed there for,
okay.
for
all right.
Lyn.
Yep.
Okay. So we got to talk about travel rewards because you're such an expert. I think podcasters, we are online entrepreneurs, but I know a lot of my pod pals are ready to get out there and freaking travel somewhere again this year now that the world is seemingly opening back up. Yes, we're ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm a big fan of travel rewards, travel hacking, the Chase Ultimate Rewards. I think I've got like 160,000 Chase points right now, so I'm like, I want to spend some of these. I would love for you to describe the Southwest Airlines Companion Pass, because this is where you blew my mind when I heard you on the Choose FI podcast. I'm like, this is a game changer. So could you describe your strategy around that Companion Pass and how we could all benefit from qualifying for one of those?
Yes. So back to 80-20, or you can look at it as, what's the one thing I can do to fill in the blank, right? So to me, the Southwest Companion Pass falls in the category, what's the one thing I can do to fly free as many places as possible? So the Southwest Companion Pass is a pass that you can earn with Southwest that allows you to bring one person with you free, except you have to pay the $5.60 security fees. So you're not paying any airfare for them. You add them free to as many flights as you want to take on Southwest while you hold this pass. And the pass is good from the time you earn it till the end of the following year. So we're recording this early in 2022. That's a great time to earn it because it's good for almost 2 full years. It would be good through the end of December 2023. So there's other airline companion passes out there. So I get a lot of, but Alaska has one, and but Delta has one. But it's nothing like this one. So
I agree.
The Southwest Companion Pass is not just a one-time thing. First of all, as many times you want to use it, you can book yourself in points and add your companion free, where like Delta is going to make you pay for your flight in dollars, and then you can add someone one time. Alaska's, you have to pay $99 or something for them to fly. And again, just a one-time thing. So to earn this pass, that's the trick, right? You have to earn 125,000 qualifying Southwest points in 1 calendar year. So that's January 1st to December 31st. You got to have all those points in by that time. And so what we do, like inside our membership, is we help you with a very easy way to quickly get that pass in hand. Like that's usually my first step for people, as long as you want to fly around where Southwest flies. They fly around the US and the Caribbean, not to Europe. So if those are on your radar, you definitely want to do this. And we do it through having you sign up for just 2 cards, 2 Southwest cards, meeting a minimum spend, because when you we use travel cards a lot to help you earn miles and points to fly free, because it's the quickest and easiest way to earn a big chunk of points. So you spend, say, $2,000 in the first 3 months when you open a Southwest card, and you get 50,000 points. So usually between 2 of their cards and the bonuses currently offered, they change, from over time, you can end up with 125,000 points. And so the quicker you can do that, again, to your advantage, that's more free flights you can bring someone on. And I look at this thing, and so like my family, in a typical year when it's not a pandemic, we fly 6 times a year, 4 people free. So for me,
That's awesome, Lyn. That's
the
just awesome.
companion pass like has a huge value for us, because if you look at the average cost of a round trip in the US is $350, according to Airlines for America. So if you multiply that 6 times, because you're bringing one person, one person, our family's flying free 6 times a year, times 2, because we can do it for 2 years. And then you add in the value of the 125,000 points that you earned, because what makes this even better, those points that you earn to get the pass, you can still use those points to book yourself and anyone else in your family who's not your companion on free flights. So when you add the value of all that, that's over like $8,000 in value for my family just to get the companion pass.
That's insane.
That's step 1.
That is step 1, $8,000 in savings. So I'm well on my way. Like I said, I think I've listened to every single episode that you've put out, and that's just what I do. When I find something like this that I love to nerd out on, I go full in, and I think I'll have my pass earned by mid-March, March 1st, somewhere in that zone. I'm on track for that. You teach amazing strategies where you can always have this companion pass. It's not just like a 2-year thing. You teach your students how to always have access to that. So just imagine the experiences you'll be able to have where, like, I can't wait to tell my wife, like, hey, let's fly down to New Orleans for the weekend. I'll just throw you on my companion pass. I'm using points. Let's just go. And that's just like a huge quality of life upgrade to have that. Now, one of my favorite episodes, or you talked about it more than one, but there are a couple where you really focus in on this, is when you talk about what we want to look for when we spend our points on a Southwest flight. Like, what's a good target range of per person, per direction? Like, what do we want to shoot for? Because sometimes you look on there and it's like, oh, it's 15,000 points, or sometimes it's 5,000 points. So what range are you really gunning for when you're looking for a value flight?
Yeah. And let's first mention, like, Southwest works differently than most other airlines when it comes to booking an award seat. So it's not just a flat points price. So like on American, 90% of the time it's going to be 26,000 points round trip, anywhere you want to go, which is totally daunting. I think that's over 100,000 points I have to collect every time I want to take my family somewhere. Yeah. Southwest, the way they work, the points price changes when the cash price changes. So when there's a sale and the cash price goes down, so does the points price. So there's a lot of tricks and hacks and stuff that you can play all above board with them to really learn how to pay the fewest points per flight. So I'm very big on that too, because I think a lot of other miles and points people miss that part of it. They focus so much on the collecting of the points, which of course you have to do that too, and not though how to efficiently redeem them. So I don't want people just like going to Southwest and just booking whatever the points price is for whenever they think they want to go. There's a lot of ways to end up paying a lot less. So I always am aiming for like 10,000 points round trip or less. I prefer 7,500 or, less round trip. So like we flew, all of us, from, we drove to Chicago because oftentimes you can get a cheaper points price out of there than you can Indianapolis, which is where we would both fly out of.
Yeah, good to know.
So I always look at Could I get another trip out of the points I'm saving by driving to Chicago? If so, we will drive to Chicago and fly out of Midway. So we flew everyone from Midway to Maui last spring break for 30,000 points total for
Wow.
4 people. Compare that to 26,000 for one person on American or United. So we almost did 4 people for that same amount by understanding how Southwest works. And we had a companion pass in there too. So it was 10,000 points round trip per person, but then we could do 4 for 30. Another example I gave, we did Midway to Las Vegas. I don't know, fall break, not last fall break, but the one before, to Vegas, and then drove into Utah and I love the Southern Utah National Park.
Yeah.
So did Arches and Canyonlands and all of that. We did that for 5,000 points round trip per person. And sometimes you can find like 2,000 points round trip. Like it's not all the time, but here and there you can, if you know to look for it and how to grab it. So, and like, if you're saying you and your wife wanted to fly down to New Orleans, that's literally a buy one, get one for you with the companion pass. You're paying for one person. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Now, I heard you in the jumble of all the shows I've listened to from you. I thought you said somewhere that you can only have 3 people that use your companion pass. Is that per year? Is that over the 2-year thing? Is that even true? Are there any hacks around that?
Yeah. So to just add to, again, how amazing the pass is, you can, once you earn it, you will choose your companion, but then you can change that companion 3 times each year. Now that gets a little bit tricky in that you have to finish all flights with your first companion before you can change companions, but we have a way around that. Basically where you can hold a seat for that future person until you're able to switch to them.
Okay. So yeah, okay. That makes sense. So if I'm flying my family of 4, I basically just put my wife on the companion pass as the main one. That's gonna be the easiest route, and then we can work some hacks around that if you have to. Okay, that makes total sense. Now, with the points that we're collecting, like that is something that I think people need to realize also. Like those are forever. Like you don't have to spend those in a year. You don't have to there's no like deadline on those points. And you can, so with if you qualify for the companion pass, you're getting 125,000 points. And if you do the math on what Lyn was just telling us, like she could take her family to Maui 4 times on just those points alone, which is super impressive. Now, to qualify for those points, we have to spend a little bit of money. And another key thing for people to understand, I want you to explain, is like, you're not asking people to spend extra money. It's just like putting the things you're already spending money on, right?
Right. So you don't need to be buying things that you hadn't planned to buy just to earn points. So, because travel credit cards are involved here, a lot of people have a negative mindset around credit cards. So one of my favorite podcasts I did recently was about how to have the right mindset in order to travel free, and a follow up on what I call travel lies, like the misinformation out there about flying free. And so one of them is that credit cards are bad, right? Like I have been in debt, so I 100% get where that comes from. But credit cards, it's what you do with them that you could qualify as good or bad. And it turns out like credit cards can be really good if you can manage them and not carry a balance. So we don't want you to carry a balance on these cards, because these cards have high interest rates, the ones that give you points. So you do need to be able to pay it off. So my word of advice on that is never put anything on a card that you don't have money in the bank to cover right now. And I like to just pay it off every day, because then it's no different than you using your debit card. It's the same thing, but you're earning a return on spending you're doing anyway in the form of free travel. Why wouldn't you want to do that? And I advise people just to put your everyday spend on these cards, or things that you're going to be buying anyway. Like, okay, if you have to, like I had someone buying new tires the other day, like, well, you might as well earn points. You're going to be buying tires anyway. That isn't necessarily your everyday spend, but the way we teach it, so you can have enough points to always be able to go where you want to go, just by putting your everyday spend on the right card. The card that's going to earn you the most points in the categories that you spend on regularly. And that works well. Like with our system, we really like Chase Ultimate Rewards because it's a flexible system that can be used on Southwest. It can be used the way we teach flying to Europe. It can be used to book free hotel stays. So if you choose a card that aligns to what your goals are, and that earns you the most points, where you're spending regularly, which is hopefully going to start being travel, right? So you definitely want a card that's going to earn you more than 1 point per dollar on travel. And I like this. The airline cards generally don't. So I don't love spending on an airline card. It's fine to meet the minimum spend to get your bonus, but then move on because you don't earn very many points per dollar there unless you're purchasing a fare with them, which you should not be. We're showing you how to fly free.
Right. So right now, my game plan for those that are listening in that are wondering, I've got the Southwest business card where I'm going to earn 80,000 points for completing, I think, a $5,000 spend in 3 months. So basically, all I'm doing is adding my normal business expenses on there. And the ace in the hole, like let's say I was close and I'm like, oh man, I'm not going to make my 3 month spend. I've got a virtual assistant. I've got an editing and production team. I can always just pay them in advance and have that. Like, I know I'm going to spend that money. I can pay them in advance. I know a lot of you have that situation where you can just say, hey, we're getting paid a month in advance. So the next, VA bill comes through, we just take it out of that. What are your opinions on personal expenses on a business card where you charge it, but then you pay it out of your personal account, of course, but it's run through the business card? So for example, I'm going to buy my dog some dog food, and I buy the dog food with my business card, but I pay that $60 when the card comes due off of my personal account. I'm not trying to pay for it with my business money. What are your thoughts on that? I feel I haven't done that yet because I'm nervous about it. I don't want to get kicked out of Southwest points, police coming after me or anything like that. So what are your thoughts there?
So, my take on that is there's no Southwest police that are going to come check your charges, because when you think about it, these banks want you to spend on the card because even if you pay it off, they're still making that percentage every time you charge to the card. So they're happy that you're charging to the card, whatever you're charging to the card, is my opinion. And I have a podcast episode on this too that's really good, where we really dive into business cards with Zach Hood of Travel Freely. He's also, check him out, Travel Freely. So neither of us have really ever seen an issue with any of our people doing that. Now, my word of caution, though, would be my business is a corporation, so I don't want to mix the two. That would be a complicated mess for me, accounting wise and whatever, to try to figure out. So I keep my two things very separate. I think if you're a sole proprietor, I don't see any problem in doing that because everything's kind of coming out of the same bucket anyway.
Yeah, like I've got an LLC. Now, what about health expenses? I just got a giant health bill and I was like, this could get me all the way there. Do you feel like that's crossing the line, or would you go for it?
Well, I think if you're mixing and matching, I don't know that it really matters.
Okay.
It's like so that would be my opinion. And you can, there's services that you can use to pay a bill with a credit card that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to pay with a credit card. So Plastic is the one I like, PLASTIQ. So I can't pay my health insurance with a credit card, but I could pay it Plastic the amount with my card, and then they'll send a check.
Right.
So you can do pretty much everything except a mortgage on there.
Nice.
And that's a way to help you more quickly meet a minimum spend if you're, struggling to spend a certain amount.
Beautiful. I love
And taxes too. That's a big one this time of year, is if you have to pay a tax bill, why not get free travel for it? That makes it a lot less painful.
Yeah. Every time I spend something, I'm like, ooh, that's getting me that much closer. I'm dipping my toes in the sands of Maui soon enough. Like, I can feel it. Getting out of Indiana for a minute. That's very motivating for me. Okay. I want to spend just a couple minutes here as we wrap up talking about your membership again, because I think that it's really you've got it put together. It seems like it's super high value. You hear all the people talking about all the value they're getting out of it. Let's say there is somebody out there that is kind of brand new in the online business building space and they want to build a membership, they've got a podcast. Any advice for, what you would say, like, oh, this is working really well, or I tried this other thing and that didn't work so well in the membership? Any membership advice for newbies out there?
Let me think about that. What would I advise for membership? So yeah, this has just been like, I really created it because I wanted to put everything I had created in one place and make one cost for it, but it really developed into so much more than that. So now it's a whole system. And I think what's a big key to my membership success is the personal support that people get. So like if you're enrolling in an online course, you're just going through the videos and maybe you can post a comment or something. But for a topic like this that can get complicated, and there are a lot of rules to the different credit cards and timing things properly so you don't mess up and all of that. Personal support can be huge, and there's really no one out there offering that. And so that's what I hear from a lot of my members is they love the support that they get. They can, we do, like Zoom consults. You can send an email at any time and get an answer in 24 hours about any travel question you have. And the other thing that's been a real surprise to me is the community feel that has developed. And so you wouldn't get that in a course either.
Right.
And it's this members helping members. And we have weekly live webinars on different travel topics. So people are getting together like on Wednesday nights and they're meeting my team and they're hearing from other members. And it's just really, it's like we're a family of people who, just like you're saying, we value the experience of travel and the memories that we can make with our families. And you're amongst people who also value that. And there's something to be said for that. And we all have a mindset of kind of how much can we get for how little, I think, it goes with this territory. And so everyone wants to help everyone else get more, for what they're doing too. So what helped me really start to build the membership was getting on and doing the one-on-one consults with the people who were already on my list. And that gave me a real handle on what were they needing? What were they struggling with? And it really built my confidence in how much I could help them. Like I was really seeing like, oh my gosh, I can save these people thousands of dollars if they just do X, Y, and Z. And so now when I'm talking about the membership, I can come at it. I mean, I truly believe everyone should join. If you value travel, you have to spend some money, but you're going to make back thousands of dollars if you love to travel,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's honestly, as I listen in to your show, and obviously I'm a super fan of your brand and what you're doing, like you have the members on your show. But if I was to give you one piece of just other than Clubhouse, I think this is a better tip of a little piece of advice. I do an episode every Friday that I call a podcast audit, where I invite listeners of my show onto the show. These aren't members. These are potential members. And I audit their podcast in 3 areas: monetization, growth, and audience and engagement. I could see you doing a free travel audit to listeners of the show and basically showing them how much money you could be saving them. And that's the episode. And that's you coaching somebody. And those people will turn into members, but it's a one-to-many experience. And that's what a lot of high-level marketers, like, I don't have time for one-on-one. I'm like, oh, this isn't one-on-one. Everybody in the earbuds week after week. That's why these are my most downloaded episodes. So I had to start releasing them one a week. So I was a 1 episode a week kind of guy every Tuesday, but now I'm Tuesday and Friday. Every Friday is a podcast audit. They're my most downloaded episodes because it's people in my audience that are super fans getting to come on and ask the questions that all the super fans want to know. And it's expert positioning week after week after week. And my membership has skyrocketed since doing that because people are just like, when I'm ready to spend money, Adam's my guy because he's always in my earbuds every single week. So that's something you may want to experiment with, that little tweak of, instead of talking about their experience as a member, showing them what they're kind of missing out on by not being a member and kind of giving them the little appetizer. I think that you could do pretty darn well with it. So something to consider. I think your super fans like me would enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I mean, I know that when I was first getting into miles and points, I loved to read the stories of how other people were doing it. And like I think you said, yeah, that's what you always have liked, reading stories of how other people are successful. So I clearly we're not alone in that. Because you can kind of insert yourself into the person who's on as, okay, they're representing me, I can
Yep.
see myself in that situation and getting that same advice and, acting on it. So
Yep.
I like it.
Yep. Okay. Final thing I would like for you to dispense here on our episode. I know we got a lot of people that are thinking about launching a show. I call them our podcrastinators. They have not launched yet, but they're sure thinking about it. If you had to relaunch your show, is there anything that you would do differently if you had to relaunch it tomorrow? Are there any mistakes, or is there any area that you would double down on, or anything you would want to change from your initial launch of Families Fly Free?
I think paying attention to the intro and your outro. So it doesn't have to be perfect, because I know you talk about like you will never launch the podcast if everything has to be perfect. But what I did kind of over time is listen some podcasts that I really enjoy. Amy Porterfield, that's one.
Yep.
but listening to their intros and outros, and so I kind of, after I had launched, I paid more attention to those. And then I later on kind of tweaked mine to be a combination of the different ones that I really liked. So I think that's the place where you get to promote whatever your paid thing is too. Yep. And so you want that to be polished and sound well. And like, just don't get hung up on it being perfect. Like, I don't edit out where I stumble over words, and because I feel like that makes me a human being.
Right.
I'm not a perfect human being that because someone's editing it out. So I just talk and then I go on. And like another one that I really like is Brooke Castillo and the Life Coach School podcast. And she really just gets on and she tells you, and she's been doing this for years now. Like, I forget, she's on 300 plus, I think, but here's what she's doing this week about, her family or whatever. And then she just launches into what she already knows because she's an expert at it and moves on. And there's nothing fancy about it, but it's super helpful information. That's what people want. I think they want to hear from real human beings that aren't perfect and polished and,
Yeah. Can't lose with authenticity. And I think you bring that in spades. Like, your show is awesome. I think that if anybody out there is super interested or intrigued by this concept of, wow, I never thought that I could do this travel rewards hacking thing, and like, go and just listen to like 5 of Lyn's episodes and you'll be hooked. You'll be, applying for your Southwest cards. You'll be diving into a membership and absorbing all the information. So Lyn, if people do want to dive into your world, where are the best places to send them so they can get plugged in?
Yeah. So if you're interested in learning more about the membership, it's familiesflyfree.com/join. And you can pretty much find me on social media anywhere as Families Fly Free.
Let's go get it, pod pals. Lyn, I'm really pleased that we got to connect like this. I think that my family is going to benefit tremendously just from what you've dispensed on your podcast for free. Like that. It's amazing. So I appreciate you so
when
much.
You take your first trip for free with a companion pass. I want to know.
Yeah. You'll be getting an Instagram Reels video testimonial out of me. Like I'm going to be singing your praises from the flight deck. What's up, Lyn? So just be ready for that. So I appreciate you joining us today and investing in our audience here.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Lots of great ideas to explore. Even if you're not interested in travel hacking, listen to Lyn's show. Listen to how she drips those casual CTAs about her membership. It's masterful. You will gain benefit. You'll get lots of ideas on how she operates. So go check it out. And as always, Pod Pals, I appreciate you. I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We will see you next time.